Your bill is out 4-0.
Thank you. If you could remain as chair, Mr. Mullen could present. I'll be right back.
Okay, sounds good. So we will bring up Assemblyman Mullen for, thank you, AB 2182.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Chair and members. Presenting AB 2182. I'd like to begin by thanking the committee for their work with our office on the bill, and I'd like to accept the committee's suggested amendments outlined in the analysis, narrowing this bill to a pilot. As a sports fan and former high school athlete, I recognize the benefits of participating in sports and encourage young people to do so. However, I am concerned about the health and safety of our young athletes as well. In recent years, growing concerns over sports-related concussions have led to increased attention and legislation on head injuries among young athletes. To further address this issue, we need more research and data to improve the way we identify, report, and treat head injuries in student athletes. This data is also needed to provide parents with information that they can use when deciding whether or not to allow their children to participate in sports. With the amendments, AB 2182 establishes a 4-year pilot grant program in a total of 3 school districts in Northern, Central, and Southern California to conduct baseline and post-injury neurocognitive testing for student athletes. Neurocognitive testing establishes a baseline for an athlete's normal neurocognitive function at the beginning of an athletic season. A post-injury retest provides information that is measured against this baseline. This information helps to identify the extent of the injury and the best course of treatment. AB 2182 also requires that data on head injuries be compiled, retained, and analyzed. This will contribute to the much-needed information related to concussions to identify the frequency and consequences of head injuries among young athletes. This information will be available to parents or guardians of young athletes to help them make informed decisions about their children participating in sports. The bill will help us generate data to better understand the frequency of sports-related concussions to ensure we are doing what we can to prevent, recognize, and respond to concussions. And with that, I ask for an aye vote.
Okay. Any witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Bring it back to the committee. Any questions? I have one question. Has there been any analysis done on the fiscal impact? What we expect this to cost for a school?
Right. So we think the costs would be relatively minor if we're talking about just 3 school districts. $1,200, I think, we have some information. $1,200 would cover 800 of these tests. So I think we're talking about a relatively minor amount of money. We are going to be working in the appropriations process to potentially identify some grant funds, a source of these funds to establish state support here. Department of Education would be involved in processing the applications for the 3 prospective districts, one in North, one in Central, one in South. But I do believe, at least at the pilot stage, this is a fairly minor cost impact.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion on the bill? I'll move.
So the amendments will be adopted in the Arts Committee.
Oh, that's the motion. Okay. And we have a second? We had a second. Great. So the motion is do pass, and the amendments will be adopted in the Arts Committee, is our understanding. Secretary, please call the roll. Or the motion is to the Arts Committee. That's the motion. Thank you. Secretary, please call the roll.
O'Donnell. Olson.
Aye.
Olson, aye. Kim. Aye. Kim, aye. McCarty. Santiago. Thurmond. Weber. Aye. Weber, aye. It's on call.
With how many votes?
It has 3 votes.
Obviously. Your bill's on call. You have 3 votes. Okay. Ms. Kim, would you like to present? You pulled your bill. Okay. And Ms. Weber, you don't have a bill up today, right? Is that correct? Okay. Ms. Kim, would you like to chair and I'll present? That would be great. He said, oh.
Whatever. Okay.
Just in time.
Just in time.
Down there. Okay. Which one do I have first? Wilson. Okay, I'll start with 2336, just so my witnesses know.
Okay, file item. Where were we? We're on file item 21. Ms. Olson, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I'd like to start by thanking the committees and the stakeholders' input on this bill. We will be accepting the amendments. It's my pleasure to present to you AB 2336, a bill that will provide consistency for our students in special education by allowing substitute teachers in their classrooms to serve continuously for up to 40 days, provided they undergo training and provided no full-time credentialed teacher is available. California is facing an unprecedented teacher shortage. Many school districts began the academic year with vacancies across all subjects, with special education being at the top of the list. School districts seek and in many cases can't find a credentialed teacher to fill these vacancies. Current law only allows substitute teachers working with special education students to serve up to 20 days in one classroom. This hurts our students by unnecessarily subjecting them to a rotating series of substitute teachers, each with different levels of experience. We must provide a way for schools to be able to retain trained, qualified substitute teachers in our special education classrooms for at least up to 40 days while we work to address the larger teacher shortage issue and recruit more full-time credentialed teachers. Specifically, the bill as amended will require that substitutes receive 6 hours of training on various pedagogical topics prior to their extension in service, assign a fully credentialed teacher to provide ongoing support to the special education substitute teacher, and to specify that the substitute teacher will be filling an immediate vacancy. AB 2336 is a short-term remedy while we address the long-term problem of teacher shortages. With me to discuss the merits of the bill are David Riley, the Human Resources Director for Elk Grove Unified School District, and Maureen Burness, a retired special education administrator.
Your witnesses, please.
Thank you. David Riley, Associate Superintendent, Elk Grove Unified. Principals and my department, my directors, and myself are in the middle of two currents. One is a current that is responding to recent legislation such as AB 375, AB 1522. So the reasons and circumstances for which we're granting leave to our teachers is expanding. While at the same time, we're forced to fight tooth and nail for a remedy, which I think is an extremely modest remedy. I'm a bit disheartened that we've had to struggle so much and make so many concessions to this bill. However, I am excited because it can give some real relief. I remember being a principal in a situation having to visit a 9th grade autism self-contained class and be in a situation where I had to pull a substitute after 20 days who was highly effective, cared for the children were learning, the parents were happy, and these are kids with autism. They need routine. They need to know what is expected. They need to have a relationship with their teacher. And driving home that evening with the thoughts or the echoes resonating in my head of, why does this need to happen? Why does it need to happen? So this bill will help, and it will relieve us from having to be torn from following the law and doing what's actually right for children. So it's somewhat ironic that I understand the public advocate's position, but this bill is actually going to allow us to do what is actually right for children, because there are circumstances. I don't mean to mitigate the importance and efficacy of teacher training, but there are instances where a substitute teacher has what we call it, and they are the right fit for the right time for that particular need. And it is absolutely tragic to have to pull an effective substitute from a position just because of some arbitrary law. So I think, 40 days, I'll take it. I don't think it's enough. The leave that this legislature is granting tends to be in 12-week increments, whether it's the baby bonding leave for 12 weeks, FMLA, CFRA, and the very generous Ed Code that leaves a plethora of leave for teachers in circumstances. This will give us some relief and do what's right for children. So I emphatically implore you to approve this bill.
Thank you. Is there any other statements in support?
Yes. Hello, I'm Maureen O'Leary Burness, and I am a retired special ed administrator, but I spent 5 years first in junior high school and then 20 years as a special ed administrator. But for the last 2 years, I was the co-executive director of the statewide special ed task force, and we actually provided all of you last year with a full report. This is just the executive summary of the statewide report on how to improve special education in California. We were asked by the State Board of Education and the Commission on Teacher Credentialing to set up this work group. And we had particularly 2 items that we were asked to address. The first was to identify the barriers to success for children who are children with disabilities in California, and then to make recommendations to improve policy and practice to address those barriers. So we have a whole section in this report on educator preparation, teacher preparation, professional learning, all of the kinds of needs that we believe need to be addressed. And one of the most significant barriers identified in 6 public hearings around the state was the teacher shortage issue and the lack of teacher preparation to work adequately in special education. So we recognize that that's a really significant need. And then what happens is when we have a need for filling a vacancy while some person is on leave, we have this limitation currently in law to only 20 days. And so, like you so eloquently reported, it's these children who most need the consistency and the expertise that we're able to provide. And I really do like all of the amendments that were added to make sure that these substitutes get even more than they might need, because they might address one of the other issues, which is get more teachers into the pipeline. I think with this kind of training and support, we would even be able to help support these people who are getting a credential or who might now get a better or longer-term credential. So I believe that this really does help address one of the barriers that's identified, and seek your support.
Okay, any other comments?
Salvia Senior with the Association of California School Administrators, sponsors of this bill, and we'd ask for your support.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Erin Evans on behalf of the Small School Districts Association and support.
Thank you.
Ray Burnell with the California Catholic Conference and support.
Michael Hulsizer on behalf of 47 school districts and the county superintendent in Kern County in support.
Jeff Vaca representing Riverside County Schools in support.
Michelle Underwood on behalf of the Fresno Unified School District in support.
Nancy Lacoste representing the Coalition for Adequate Funding for Special Education in support. Thank you.
Elizabeth Gibbons, Los Angeles Unified School District in support.
Alice Kessler on behalf of the Special Education Local Plan Area Administrators of California in support.
Sarah Botches with the California Association of School Business Officials, also in support.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, are there any opposition? Yes. Okay, yes. You want to make...
Request to stand, please.
Okay, sure.
Okay, thank you. I'm Liz Guillen with Public Advocates. Our major concern is the fact that these are, in fact, the most vulnerable students, and what we don't want to see is the lowering of standards, however consistent, for these students. In addition, the Commission on Teacher Credentialing has been involved in a process dealing with the teaching permit for statutory leave for special ed, and that process has been going on for over 18 months. And so it's a little bit troubling to understand that there would be now a legislative fix that sort of circumvents that process. We support and appreciate the committee amendments that were recommended to require training and mentorship for these for the prospective emergency special education substitute teaching permit holder. And we also support the amendment requiring LEAs to report their reliance on these underprepared teachers to the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. But we cannot support the 5-year sunset on this, especially considering the stakeholder process that has been underway and where the stakeholders are vetting fixes to this issue. We believe that 3 years is a more appropriate time period for what should be short-term relief to districts. This allows us time to gather the data about the continuing need for and the preliminary use of this permit, which will allow underprepared teachers to be teaching our most vulnerable students. That's the reason we continue to oppose the bill. Thank you.
Mr. Chair and members, my name is Ivan Carrillo. I'm with the California Federation of Teachers. We originally took an opposed position but held off on submitting a letter because we were negotiating amendments with stakeholders. As was just said by the previous speaker, we were concerned with increasing the number of students who are being taught by underprepared teachers, particularly special ed teachers who are in the most need of having teachers with the proper training. The amendments significantly narrow when 40-day substitutes can be used, and it provides these substitutes with key supports. Our primary concerns have been addressed. I will be recommending a neutral position to our Executive Council.
Isabel Garcia with the California Teachers Association. We were recommending and oppose at our upcoming State Council meeting this weekend. And we want to thank the committee staff and the sponsors and the author for working with us to address our key concerns, which is, again, you don't want to extend time for short-term permits for underqualified people without additional training, without mentoring, without support, without assistance, and those were our primary concerns. We supported the new permit that the Commission has been working on, which is the new TPSL, the Temporary Permit for Statutory Leave, which covers general ed and special ed for teachers of leave. And we think there are a lot of options that districts have already. So we might have some more comments on how to strengthen the bill going forward, but we are going to be recommending a neutral position based on the committee amendments. Thank you.
Great. Did we hear from all the support?
Yes, and opposition.
Any opposition?
I think that's done as well.
We heard from the opposition too. Okay, great. Any comments from the committee? We have a move, and I'll second. You may close.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to address just some of the comments that were made by public policy advocates in my close. Really appreciate, again, the stakeholders working with us to craft a bill that is agreeable. When it comes to not wanting to lower the standards for special ed students, I couldn't agree more. My niece is a special education student. My sister-in-law is a special education teacher. This is a population that certainly has unique needs. But the challenge of the teacher shortage is also particularly acute in this area. And so these substitute teachers come into play only when a school cannot find a full-time credentialed teacher to serve this population. And in instances like that, when a full-time teacher simply is not available, it is not a positive for those students to have to rotate from one teacher to the other. These students need as much consistency and continuity of instruction as possible while we're seeking full-time teachers. As it relates to what the Teacher Credentialing Commission is working on, I couldn't agree more. That work needs to continue, but their work applies only to statutory leave, FMLA, pregnancy leave, etc., not to instances of vacancies. So our bill is specific to vacancies, does not address statutory leave. We're leaving that to the Teacher Credentialing Commission. Again, as it relates to the sunset, appreciate the committee's work in allowing us a 5-year sunset. Teacher credentialing programs take a minimum of 4 years, and that is if the CSU effort to have a 4-year program instead of a 5 or 6-year program advances. So I don't believe a 3-year sunset would give us the time to fix the teacher pipeline issue and make sure we have more credentialed students, or teachers, to serve our special ed students. With that, I respectfully ask for your aye vote, and thank you for the committee's assistance.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, please call the roll. The motion is do pass as amended to appropriations.
O'Donnell?
Aye.
O'Donnell, aye. Olson?
Aye.
Olson, aye. Kim? Aye. Kim, aye. McCarty? Santiago? Thurmond? Weber? It's on call.
Bill's on call. Thank you. Mr. Lowe, you may come forward, please. File item number 4, AB 1689. Mr. Lowe, you may proceed when ready.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and members, for allowing me to present AB 1689, which will require service learning component to be incorporated into one of the courses that are already required of high school students in order to receive a diploma of graduation. Throughout the draft framework, there are references to service learning in civic education, and this is not something new, and this bill will educate and encourage students to become model citizens and hope that they continue to provide all aspects in their government life. I respectfully ask for your aye vote, and with us here today is also Carol from the California State PTA.
Hi, I'm Carol Kosovar with the California State PTA. One of the most important responsibilities of our education system is to teach our children to be responsible adults in a democracy. And this addresses a very, very important issue, and that is connecting what they learn in the classroom to the values and sense of responsibility that we want our children to have as they grow up to be adults. The California State PTA has a very strong support of making sure that our schools meet the civic mission of our schools. And service learning is something, it's not just community service, it's not just volunteering, it's something that actually connects what kids learn in school to the service that they're doing in the community. And that's an important idea, and it's an idea that sort of is embedded in the direction that we're going in education. And that is, it's an experience, it's participation, it's making education real for our students. And that's why we support this bill.
Great, thank you. Any others in support? Any opposition to the bill? Okay, we'll bring it back. Mr. Lowe, I'm going to be supportive of your bill today. I would argue, on one hand, the locals could employ this now if they so desired, and many are. The ed code's pretty thick, and I just wonder sometimes if we keep adding to it, if that's always a good thing. And again, this could be, employed now at the local level, and often is. I've seen it in my own school district, and then during tough times, I saw it repealed, and yet it may be coming back again. So I'm going to be supportive, but things like this just do give me a struggle sometimes. But again, I appreciate your efforts and your acknowledgement that service learning is good. It is positive, and it helps build better people. So with that, any other comments from the committee? Vice Chair Olson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. From a concept, I really like the bill. CSU, for example, service learning is a component of graduation requirements within the CSU system. More and more, we're seeing college admissions requirements have a community service component. And so I like the idea of incorporating service learning opportunities within the curriculum of a high school so that students are better prepared for college admissions, and also just community participants and giving them better opportunities to get involved in their community. My concern, which was also articulated, is particularly in the era of the LCFF, when we have, to a very large extent, removed the state from the jurisdiction of curriculum at the K-12 level and really devolved that down to local school boards and districts. I hate to interfere with that when it's so soon. So I will be laying off the bill today, but you have my full support in what you're trying to do, and I would go testify to school boards across the state saying they should include a service learning component within their curriculum.
Great. Without any further comment from the committee, seeing no further comment, you may... I'll move the bill. Do we have a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. And the motion is due pass to appropriations. You may close, Mr. Lowe.
Thank you very much. I respectfully ask for a vote.
Thank you. Aye.
O'Donnell?
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, Olson?
Not voting.
Olson not voting. Kim?
Not voting.
Kim not voting. McCarty? Santiago?
Aye.
Santiago, aye. Thurman? Weber? 2.
You? Yeah.
It's on call.
It's on call.
The bill is on call, Mr. Lowe. Thank you. I will now, Ms. Olson will now present final item, It's file item 29. 29, AB 2738, with regard to school bonds.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I am accepting the committee's amendments. When school bonds are approved by voters, it is the obligation of local districts to provide their respective communities with the facilities that were promised in the bond. In order to build, maintain, and upgrade facilities, it is important that public funds are protected. Traditionally, the public funds used for school bonds are invested in large investment pools that are managed by county treasurers. Until just recently, no one had ever questioned the responsibility of the county treasurer to oversee the investment of public funds. But last year, San Mateo Community College District authorized itself to withdraw funds from the county treasurer, establish surplus funds for investment on the open market, and to use bond proceeds to cover the cost of those investments. This series of actions creates a dangerous precedent for school districts across the state. If an investment loss were to occur, inadequate funding would delay necessary school maintenance and upgrades. Voters would also be more reluctant to pass future school bond measures. Unless legislation is passed, the loophole allowing school bond money to be gambled on the open market could continue. AB 2738 will bring clarity to the law by prohibiting school districts from withdrawing from the county treasury in order to invest public dollars on the open market. We must respect the will of the voters and ensure that bonds are spent for their intended purposes. More importantly, we need to continue providing our children with safe and well-maintained educational environments and facilities. With me is Karen Lange on behalf of the California Association of County Treasurers and Tax Collectors, Sandy Arnott, the San Mateo County Treasurer, and David Wolf from the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association to answer any technical questions and to be witnesses in support.
Great, thank you. Did you have witnesses that wanted to speak in support, or were they just here for expertise?
Yes.
Okay, proceed.
I know you've had a long day. We'll be fast. Karen Lang with Shayota Antwi on behalf of the California Association of County Treasurers and Tax Collectors. Before I turn it over to Sandy Arnott, I just wanted to make a few key points for the committee to observe. The county treasurers act as the public's bank. Much like school districts focus on education, vector control deals with bugs, and park districts build parks, county treasurers handle public money. That's what we do. That's our mission. So when this came up, we were obviously very concerned because no matter who you are, if you're a public agency and you're investing public money, 53601 of the government code says three things. You've got to invest it for security first, second for liquidity, and third for yield. So when you talk about liquidity, no matter who you are as a public agency, school district, county treasurer, the maximum amount of time that you can invest any public funds is 5 years. In addition, county treasurers have treasury oversight committees that are required in statute. They are Brown Act noticed with a quorum and people vote. School districts have positions on those treasury oversight committees, so if there are concerns about how public dollars are being invested, there's already a venue in place for that to occur. And third, I just wanted to point out very recently this effort to try and have a school district remove funds from a county treasury. The first $50 million of those proceeds, the financial advisor involved offered, for the bargain price of $60,000 of school bond funds that they would go invest it on the private market. Even though there's no statutory jailbreak, if you go invest the public money on the private market, you still are subject to 53601 of the government code. So it doesn't guarantee you any kind of better yield. So with all that in mind, I want to pass it over to Sandy and ask for your aye vote and thank the author for taking this on for us.
Chairman O'Donnell and honorable members of this committee, my name is Sandy Arnott, and I'm the San Mateo County Treasurer Tax Collector here to request your support of AB 2738 for the following reasons. The content of the bill addresses an area of code that is currently silent, specifically that the spirit of the law never intended to have surplus funds or monies not needed for immediate use pertain to school bond proceeds. This is a gray area that requires cleanup to ensure various areas of code work in harmony and do not create confusion, but rather provide transparency, especially for taxpayers who so generously vote to support these bond issuances and assume those proceeds are being managed as the state intended by county treasurers. Allowing districts to issue bonds for the purpose of investing the proceeds is not in compliance with the requirement that all proceeds are to be used solely for the purpose under which the bond measure was presented to the taxpayers. There has never been, and certainly should never be, a bond measure that states the purpose for its issuance is for investment by the district. Commingling bond proceeds with surplus funds at a district level creates a poor audit trail and places bond proceeds at risk of misuse. Such a practice is ripe for fraud. Taxpayer dollars would certainly be used to offset costs not currently passed on through county investments due to economies of scale, such as banking fees, transaction and advisor costs. Investments by the county treasurers are more secure due to better diversification. The ability to appropriately diversify small, single issues can be a challenge at best. Size also lends itself to economies of scale. It is cost prohibitive to establish and set up multiple infrastructure to manage funds when, by current law, county treasurers already handle these processes. Fiscal responsibility is strengthened by AB 2738. The State Treasurer's Office recently released the Bond Accountability Report, which was issued as a result of the misappropriation of bond funds. Allowing a district to hold and manage those funds themselves would significantly increase the likelihood of this type of misappropriation. It is in the best interest of the taxpayers and certainly in the spirit of the law to have bond proceeds invested by the county treasurer. greater transparency exists at the county level with regard to investments made. I believe the state intended for educators to focus on educating and treasurers to focus on investments. AB 2738 ensures such an intent is carried through and that taxpayer dollars are safeguarded and invested appropriately. Thank you for your time and for considering support of AB 2738.
Mr. Chairman, members, just briefly, David Wolf here with the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association in support of the bill. Members, it's really simple. If it's not broke, if it's not broke, there's nothing to fix, and there's nothing to fix here. County treasurers have served and serve the public well in managing these funds, and there's no need to turn it over to a district to try and do the same thing. They're conservative in their approach, they're conservative in how they do things, and it's appropriate that all this stay with them. I'd ask for an aye vote.
Great, thank you. Any others in support? Any in opposition? Please come forward.
Rebecca Curley on behalf of the Community College Facility Coalition in opposition. School boards and boards of trustees are the folks who are ultimately responsible for delivering the projects that they promise to their voters and to their communities, and they're the ones who have to ensure appropriate use of taxpayer dollars. In the spirit of local control and accountability, we believe that districts should have the ultimate say in where their bond proceeds are invested. This provides an important check and balance in the system that we have. We have a very robust accountability and transparency system. Think things like bond oversight committees, annual audits. Your boards must approve major contracts and expenditures. The primary goal of the district and the county treasury is the same, to preserve principle. But sometimes a district may feel that the county treasury investment model may not serve their purpose. It may not be the best approach. And in those circumstances, we believe that the district should have the ability to consider alternative options. At the end of the day, the board, not the county treasury, is responsible to voters and to taxpayers, and we believe that we should let the responsibility and the decision lie with them. Thank you.
Mr. Chair and members, Ian Padilla with the Coalition for Adequate School Housing, and we are also opposed. I think the previous speaker did a nice job of summarizing the reasons for our opposition. We would emphasize that existing law, we believe, provides the necessary checks and balances. Thank you.
Sarah Batches with the California Association of School Business Officials, also in opposition.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? I actually have a couple questions. I think this is a good idea. I'm not totally convinced. I'm going to be supportive today. I think it's clear that, as my staff has done the research, that it probably is current law that those funds should be invested with the county treasurers. Why wouldn't we let a district that has expertise invest outside of that county pool?
Personally, I don't believe that the district has the type of expertise required to invest funds of this magnitude. We're talking millions of dollars here. And I think that they have the flexibility to invest what are truly surplus funds, and they probably have the administration to handle something like that. But we're talking millions of dollars here. We're talking $388 million just for one specific issue. And there are several issues out there. That sort of responsibility through state law and code should reside in the treasurer's office, and let the district go ahead and have their flexibility with what are truly surplus funds. Mm-hmm. I believe that's why the law and code exists the way it does.
So, what if a school district doesn't have confidence in their county treasurer? I mean, remember Orange County?
Well, no, San
that's
Mateo,
an extreme case, but I actually think there was a school district that didn't invest with the county during that time period that actually didn't get hit.
Right.
A lot of years ago.
Yeah, and I will be very upfront and tell you San Mateo County had the issue with Lehman, which, is exactly what San Mateo Community College District is looking at. if anybody else could see that coming, we did not, obviously, and we lost $155 million. I spent the last 6 years working on litigation, and we did recoup 46% of that. So the final loss to the school district was $12 million. I understand their hesitation, but there are no guarantees. We have taken our investment policy and we have really tightened it up to make sure that I can't guarantee you that it would never happen again, but certainly the impacts would be much, much less. I don't think the district can guarantee that their investments are never going to happen.
I'm not talking about guaranteeing the investment as much as I'm looking at a qualified investor, right? That you have the confidence that your county treasurer has the skill set necessary to invest. I'm not talking about an economic downturn, the Lehman Brothers, that we're going to call that an anomaly for today. But I mean, could there be a situation where a school district doesn't have confidence?
If I could add,
would it require some aberration of the law?
As their lobbyist, I've had plenty of opportunity to figure out all of the ramifications of what happened in Orange County from a statutory perspective, and 53601 of the government code, which was what I was referring to. So you had probably a lot of experience with it as well. 53601 was beefed up hugely after Orange County went into bankruptcy, and that dictates how she can invest, and it dictates how any public agency can invest. So even if you get someone, without much more than a high school diploma elected to the Treasurer Tax Collector's office, they're still bound by 53601, which is those three principles I was talking about. They cannot invest aggressively. They have to invest in the most conservative, secure instruments on the market, and then that's their first priority. Second is the liquidity because of what happened in Orange County again. And then third is the yield. That's the third consideration you can give to any instrument that you're investing in. That can't drive your policy, and that is regardless of what type of public agency you are.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
No further comment. Do we have a motion? Second. Moved and seconded. You may close.
I will just respectfully ask for your aye vote.
And the motion is due pass as amended.
O'Donnell?
Aye.
O'Donnell, aye. Olson?
Aye.
Olson, aye. Kim? Aye. Kim, aye. McCarty? Santiago? Aye. Santiago, aye. Thurmond? Weber? It has 4 votes. It's out.
4 votes. It is out.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.